If every one of them, the things that Jesus did, were written down, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. Here, at the very end of his gospel, the writer, the beloved disciple, turns from his manuscript and looks straight at us and tells us there is so much more, so many more stories of Jesus that could be told. And I should know, he says, I was there. There is so much more. It's a wonderfully intimate touch to set against the mind-boggling majesty of the Gospel's opening. In the beginning was the Word. In John's Gospel there is always more. There is always another layer to be discovered beneath the surface. There are stories, of course, marvellous stories, many of them told only by this Gospel writer. And the stories challenge us to look deeper, just as Jesus himself challenges those he meets to look deeper. Stories of water turned into wine, of a meeting with a woman at a well, of a crowd of hungry people being fed and wanting more, of a friend returned to the living from the grave, of another friend who doesn't fancy having his feet washed, of a woman who won't stop loving her dead teacher, of a strange figure on the beach at dawn. Stories of Jesus that make us stop and peer beneath the words and actions to reach for a deeper understanding of the mystery of the incarnate God. This year has brought us so many stories, too many to be recorded, some sobering and saddening, others comforting and inspiring. Everybody has their stories of living through this COVID year. What will yours be when you recount them in years to come? And how will you dig down beneath the immediate outline of each story to find the meaning God has for you? There are many possible takeaways from 2020 and its stories. Among them, the uncovering of the fragility of our human well-being and the danger of encroaching on natural habitats, and the exposing of deep inequalities, even in supposedly prosperous societies like ours. But my guess is that for many of us, the primary meaning of this year and its stories will be to do with the connections between people and the value of human kindness, courage and generosity. As we've admired doctors and nurses attending to their patients with unwavering commitment and skill, as we've gasped at the righteous fury unleashed by the killing of George Floyd, as we've marvelled at the straightforward response to human need of the Black Lives Matter protester hoisting his adversary to safety, as we've counted the cost to people's mental health that months of enforced isolation have brought, as we've noticed and been lifted by so many small acts of support and encouragement around us and between us, perhaps we've understood a little more about what it is to be truly, fully, properly human, which is to be called to love God and love your neighbour as yourself. It certainly isn't just about me. Jonathan Sacks, the former chief rabbi who died in November, commented of the pandemic, "Rarely has it been clearer what we lose by focusing on the I and what we gain by caring about the we. When this is over, society will emerge with a stronger sense of we." To put it another way, perhaps we can hope that this year has ended the age of hyper-individualism. Perhaps we will learn from this year that the only way forward that can bring health and peace involves living and working together, making connections between one another. Jesus comes to share our life. He is the I am who chooses to become one of us. This is the endlessly astonishing revelation of the birth at Bethlehem. The Word made flesh empties himself of all but love. This God insists on keeping us company. Doesn't want us to be lonely or isolated or afraid in our lives or in the universe, and commands us to live in solidarity with one another as he has lived with us. He will not leave us, and he will not let us go. He is faithful to his eternal commitment to us, though it will cost him his life, so that we can learn how to commit ourselves to the welfare of one another and of our planet and all its creatures. He comes to be with us so that we can see how to be with one another. So perhaps something like this is one message to take from all the stories of 2020. In the face of adversity, we have seen more clearly than ever the value of compassion, kindness and generosity. Not as a soft option, but as an unrelenting, often costly commitment to good. So will we forget this value, this pearl of great price, when life returns to some semblance of normality? Or will we search for it and unearth it in the common ground, the everyday fabric of our lives? And rejoice then that our God is indeed with us, always with us, waiting to be discovered. Will we keep on learning how to love one another as he has loved us? In his first letter, John writes these words that have a depth of meaning we will never finish exploring. God is love, and those who live in love live in God, and God lives in them. Nothing is more true. Nothing matters more. As a new year unfolds, pray for this love to become real in the stories of our lives for the renewing of the world. And remember, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Amen. Wishing you a joyful St John's Day and a peaceful New Year.